Hello, Internet. Here we are for another vintage cube draft. Yeah, I mean, a pretty clear Mox Pearl here. I'm just paying attention to what I might wheel out of this pack. So, there's Verdant Catacombs and Watery Grave that are probably going to get taken. Deluge, Skydiver, so that's 4. Probably a Swift Spear, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I might get back like Blood Crypt, Turnabout, Needle Spires, yeah. Whoo. I do love me a birthing pod. Am I gonna take it here? I could also take Coalition Relic. I really like Coalition Relic as well. Opens up the door for a lot of nonsense. And Noble Hierarch is good. Just a nice piece of acceleration. Would give me 2 white sources if I wanted to be like a green ramp deck that's like splashing white or something. But I love Birthing Pod too much. I'm going to take it. We're going to take the Birthing Pod and we're going to draft around it. So given that I have Birthing Pod, I'm probably going to take Wall of Blossoms. There's also a Snapcaster. That's the strongest card in the pack, probably, but that's pretty far off plan. Recurring Nightmare is like also like pretty good in decks that run Birthing Pod. It doesn't like really combo with Birthing Pod, but just like it's kind of like a backup Birthing Pod in those decks. It does a similar function, but I think I'm just going to take the Wall of Blossoms and start building out a pod curve here. Okay. So Uro is interesting. I'm probably not going to take it, though. I don't know. Like, I can't really pot it away, so, like, it does... I don't know. Like, potting into it is, you know, whatever. I guess it's kind of nice in the late game that it gives me something that I can pot into that only costs 3, but is kind of like a big threat. Could also just take, like, Dryad. These decks often end up a lot of colors, so having something that makes my lands tap for all the types seems good. Yeah, I'll take a Dryad. We'll see what we can do there. Whew, so Deranged Hermit's good, and it's definitely nice to pod into, but from my experience, pod decks end up with like a ton of like 4 and 5 drops. Like you very rarely are hurting for like 4 and 5 drops to fill out your pod curves. So even though Deranged Hermit and Shriekmaw are some of the better things that you can do on 5, I think I'm just going to grab the Fintorn Elves here because it's so much more important to fill in the low end of your pod curve. Elder seems decent. Like, when it dies, I get 2 lands. I could also just take, like, a Necromancy. Some thought to that. Like, my deck's gonna have a lot of stuff in the graveyard. I think I'll just take the Elder. Keeps me in green, so I don't have to commit to a second color just yet. Ooh, Revelark. There's also Balance, but I don't know. Balance is like really hit or miss. There are some games where Balance is absurd, and there are some games where it does nothing. I don't really have a deck that works great with Balance right now. Like, Wall of Blossoms and Yavimaya Elder are both like cards that are actively bad with Balance. So I think I'll just take the Revelark. So far, it returns all of my creatures. So you can take Banishing Light if I just want kind of like a catch-all removal spell. If I'm playing white, which I might be, it looks like. It's also Survival of the Fittest. Survival's kind of like similar to Birthing Pod. If I end up drafting kind of a toolboxy deck, it helps me find the things I need. You really don't want to draw both is the thing. Like, it's really bad to have both, but either one is pretty good. There's a Shieldred. I think I'm just going to take the Banishing Light, honestly. I don't know, just having like a catch-all removal spell seems kind of nice. Ooh, we wield the Pilgrim, that's nice. So we're kind of settling in. Oh, well, there's a Oblivion Ring. Maybe I just take Plateau. I don't really want like a second, like, O-Ring and Vanishing Light are functionally identical almost, and I don't really need a second of that copy, and this deck might end up playing red, so I'll take the Plateau. Brimaz, I guess. Or I could take like a Condemn for the sideboard if I'm playing against aggro. Brimaz just seems not great. Yeah, I'm going to take the Condemn. Hollow Blade? It's so awkward. We're not really going to be an aggressive deck. Like, Pod is not trying to be aggressive. I guess I'll take Unexpectedly Absent. Yeah, I don't know on that one. Okay, Tithe Taker's not bad with Pod because it leaves behind a 1/1, so that's something. Also, Mono White's open, and if I wanted to draft like a high win percentage deck, I would just like hard pivot into Mono White. I would have taken like Seasoned Hollowblade, Adonto Vanguard. I would take the Legion's Landing here, but that's not what I'm trying to do. Mono White's just not that interesting to draft for me. I don't know. Like, you just take all the good white cards and then win a bunch of games. Where's the fun in that? Probably going to grab the Resto Angel here. That seems pretty nice. There's also a Raphelos, and it does work nicely with the Dryad of the Elysian Grove, but this deck's probably going to end up like 3 colors by the end of this, so I'm just going to grab the Resto Angel. It's a really nice thing to have in our pod curve. Rex Sage seems really good here. Nice one to pod into. Okay, what am I looking at here? So, nothing too good. I could take a Fauna Shaman. I mean, Chupacabra's a really nice one to have in your like to pod into, but it's pretty hard on our mana. Fauna Shaman is just like so mediocre. Gideon's a strong card, but it doesn't really go with what we're doing. I guess I'll take the Chupacabra. We'll probably wheel the Fauna Shaman anyways. Yeah, I'm going to take the Chupacabra. Wow, Skyclave Apparition. This card is great. Oh, but there's a Savannah too. That's a hard one. This is like the best 3-drop, but I already have 3 good 3s, or 3 decent ones. Skyclave is really, really good. Great with Resto Angel, great with Birthing Pod. I think I might have to make the Discipline pick here and take the Savannah, though. Having a fetchable duel is just so valuable, and our deck is going to end up with a bunch of, like, our deck's probably going to end up playing more colors before the end of this. Thragtusk seems good. I think I like that the best out of all of these options. It's a nice one to pod into. You often lose a lot of life in this deck, so having something that can gain you some life back is nice. We're probably not playing this Batter Skull. I'll take the Mesa that can find Savannah. Recruiter of the Guard. There's a Sword of Body and Mind, which I might play. I don't generally love swords, but if there is a deck that would play swords, this is it. I don't know. This one is just kind of awkward because it's like, it mills them a bunch, but that's just like, by the time you mill them out, you're probably just killing them anyways. So, I don't know. I really like Sword of Feast and Famine is my favorite sword. I think I might just take the Recruiter or the Guard. It finds a lot of my stuff. It's a nice thing to pot into. Ooh, Courser of Crufix. Oh, there's also a Blade Splicer, though. That's too good with Resto Angel and Pod. I think I gotta take it. Okay, so my 3s are feeling pretty full. Don't need more 3s. Could grab a Stomping Ground if I wanted to, like, flesh out a red splash. Like, that would give me the ability to splash red pretty easily. But I don't really have anything I want to splash for just yet in red, so I'll probably just take this Biogenic Ooze. We've got 2 5-drops already, but this is a pretty strong one. Council's Judgment. You know, we've got a lot of 3s already. I think we just want to take the Search for tomorrow. So also, we could take Eidolon of Obstruction just to have more 2s so that we can pod into our 3-drops. It's not really a great 2. I think I'll just take the Search. I'll take Carnage Tyrant just so that I have a 6 to pod into, even though I'm not really hoping to play it. These cards are all bad. I guess I'll take the Botanical Sanctum. Suppose there's a chance we play Krasis. I don't think I'm playing Tassiger. Maybe there's a world where we bring in land tax. Okay, so what do we need? Well, does Fast Bond do anything for us? I feel like we're pretty far away from really wanting a Fast Bond. Yeah, this deck, Fast Bond's just not very good in this deck, unfortunately. You could just take a Wasteland. Yeah, I mean, Wasteland's decent. If we weren't taking that, what would we take? There's, like, Smokestack that could be good in this deck. We could consider Vraska. Vraska's strong. We would play Vraska in this deck if we could cast it, but I might just take the Wasteland. Yeah. Elvish Mystic, I think? Yeah, that seems good. Okay. Probably a Wall of Roots here. There's also, like, Flooded Strand, which helps my mana a little bit. Wall of Roots is, like, a good 2. Helps our pod curve. What is Flooded Strand? Flooded Strand finds our Savannah. I don't think we're Golosing. Ooh, there's also Flicker Wisp. God, I love Flicker Wisp so much. This card is, I think, super underrated. I think this card is phenomenal. I already have a lot of 3s, so I'm not really in the market for it at the moment. But if it wheels, I might take it. But I think I'm just gonna take the Wall of Roots for our curve consideration here. Whoo! Wow, this pack's spicy. Okay, so we got a Razor Verge Thicket, which is nice. There's also Elspeth Conquers Death, which is really good. Tireless Tracker, just strong, but probably not because we've already got so many 3s. There's also a Jit. We could consider Jit. That's like, I think I like Elspeth Conquers Death a little bit better. We're putting a lot of stuff in our graveyard with Birthing Pod, so it's probably going to be getting stuff back pretty often. And it is, like, really good interaction. Feels bad passing a Jit in a deck with 17 creatures. Yeah, I'm going to take the Elspeth Conquers Death, I think. This pack's interesting. So If I was still interested in playing this Chupacabra, I could take the Bayou, but I don't know. Chup seems pretty ambitious at this point. Could consider like Harmonize as just a way to refuel. Bayou does not get found by any of our lands. Alright, I'm going to take the Harmonize. I don't think I'm playing this Ravenous Chupacabra. Sun Titan. Sun Titan seems like it's got to be pretty good here, right? Got a lot of good stuff to get back. There's also a Huntmaster of the Fells, which is something that I would splash here. And a Smuggler's Copter. Oh my gosh, Smuggler's Copter would be great in this deck. I'm a little anxious about this gap in our curve. Do we have any other things that could potentially fill it? Alright, I'm going to take the Huntmaster. I panicked. I just, like, having a gap in your pod curve is just really bad. So I wanted to make sure that we have something for that slot, and we can actually cast Huntmaster because we have a Plateau and an Arid Mesa, and we can play like one mountain or something. Here I guess I'll take an Oust. Oust is like a pretty good piece of interaction. Copperline Gorge? Yeah. Yeah, Copperline Gorge is good. So we wheeled the Vraska. Did we pick up that Bayou? No, we didn't pick up Bayou. Are we playing any of these other cards? That's the next question. We might play a Smokestack. Probably not, though, right? Like, we're not going super wide. Smokestack's, like, so slow. It's just not a very good card. I'll take the Vraska, I guess. Spiring Vantage. Amaria's Call is interesting, actually. Invol is another one we could consider as, like, a toolboxy card that would help our pod curve a little bit. Oh, Flame Tongue. Oh, there's a Flame Tongue. I didn't see the Flame Tongue until the last second. I should have just taken the Flame Tongue copy. That would have been great. I was kind of tunnel visioned on what I was already doing. Flame Tongue copy would have been excellent. Okay, well, I wield the Flicker Wisp, which I like. Dang. I'm kicking myself for missing that Flame Tongue Kavu in the pack. Containment Priest is not great in our deck because our whole game plan is to Birthing Pod. So... Okay. So... Let's move these here. Dang. Yeah, I really wish I had grabbed that Flame Tongue Kavu. That would have been a great one to have on my pod curve. It's really awkward when you don't have any removal to pod into. So that hurts. On the plus side, our mana's great. And we can even run this Wasteland, I think. If I just hit add basics, what does that do? That's 14 lands currently. Well, 13 plus a Mox Pearl. Okay, what do I not need? Probably don't need Banishing Light at this point because I have the Unexpectedly Absent and Oust, which are I think both better. I could probably cut the search for tomorrow. I want my mana things to be creatures, and I'm not, like, I've got enough mana for how much this deck needs, I think. Dryad's just not that useful in this deck. I don't know, being able to play, like, that was more for if this deck ended up, like, 3 or 4 colors, or if I kind of pivoted into the, like, strip miney, like, Crucible of Worlds kind of deck. Yeah, I think we just run it like this. So let's count up our sources here. So we probably don't need to be playing any red sources, given that we have Arid Mesa, Copperline Gorge Plateau, Inspiring Vantage. That's enough for our Huntmaster of the Fells. Okay. So let's do a green source count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's about how many we want. White sources, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I count that right? Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 if you count the Avacyn's Pilgrim, which I guess I do. 9.5 maybe. I'm not really counting the Yapamaya Elder because that's super slow. Yeah, that seems fine. Go ahead and run it. Okay, here we are for round 1. Yeah, I guess I can keep this hand. The Arid Mesa can find me a Savannah, and then I can play Elvish Mystic and Avacyn's Pilgrim, so if I hit more lands, this hand can be pretty explosive. But it does function on how many it already has. Savannah. I guess I'll play an Elvish Mystic. My thought process there is that if they were to like wasteland me, then I still want to be able to cast my other mana dork. Whereas if I had Avacyn's Pilgrim in play and then they wastelanded me. Okay, so they'll grab my Oust here. Yep. That's fine. I've still got other removal. Does hurt my mana having one of my dorks killed. Really don't want them to kill this one. Oof, that's good. Well, I guess we'll just play a Recruiter of the Guard. What are we getting? Probably like a Yavimaya Elder? No, I can't cast that. Let's make sure we're getting a card we can cast. That would be good. We could get like a Blade Splicer. Could also just get like Fintorn Elves. I kind of don't hate just getting a Fintorn Elves. It's awkward because it doesn't use my mana super efficiently. Yeah, I think that's what I want. Like, getting up to these 5-drops is pretty powerful. Maybe I just take the Blade Splicer. Being able to flicker a Blade Splicer with my Flicker Wisp is pretty nice. Although Flicker Wisp can already just hit Recruiter of the Guard. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Findhorn Elves. I'm not going to block with the Recruiter of the Guard. And then on my next turn, if I have to, like if I don't hit a land, I can flicker my Recruiter of the Guard. Okay. Half of Maya Elder. So I could flicker my Recruiter of the Guard and grab a, what's that card that I was thinking of? Tithe Taker that I can block with. So then the following turn I can play Findhorn Elves plus Tithe Taker. Yeah, this seems okay. So here I'm okay to block with the Recruiter now. So I'll grab Tithe Taker, and then next turn I'll play Tithe Taker plus Findhorn Elves. Yikes, Ashen Rider. That's spooky. Do not like my opponent having an Ashen Rider in their graveyard. Yeah, I'll block the Regisaur. Okay. Okay. I'll go ahead and Findhorn Elves and Tithe Taker, I guess. And yeah, why not? We'll hit him for 4. Sure. Yep. So, what am I doing next turn? Next turn I can play one of my big 5-drops. So I could Elspeth Conquers Death, but I part of me kind of wants to save that for Ashen Rider. Ooh, Revelark. Revelark, you say? So I can play Revelark, and then if they attack with the Regisaur, then I can get back Recruiter plus Tithe Taker. That's not bad. And I'll hit with the Spirit. I think I'll probably end up... You know, I'm gonna have like a million chump blockers, so I actually kind of want them to keep discarding cards to this Rotting Regisaur, so I'm gonna just chump with the Revelark. Plus, this way my opponent's under some pressure on their life total too. Yep. Put that in front there. Revelark, get back Recruiter of the Guard, and they go Elvish Mystic or Tithe Taker. Sure, we can... No, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I'll just go Tithe Taker. Recruiter grabs me a Blade Splicer, probably. Could also grab a Rexage for... You know, I actually kind of don't hate having a Rexage in the bank, because a lot of my opponent's reanimation spells probably rely on artifacts or enchantments, so that works well here. At this point, now that I have the Rexage, maybe I just like Elspeth Conqueror's Death, the Regisaur, and I'll be getting back the Revelark soon. Attack with everything. My opponent's pretty close to just dead here. They're at 4. Cool. All right, on to game 2. So, things I'm considering here. Consider like Condemn or Banishing Light. Seems like spot removal's probably pretty good against them. Yeah, like Condemn seems pretty nice. Maybe I bring out Mana Tithe. Just having ways of dealing with their big things when they're on the battlefield is really nice. Plus Condemn is like, it doesn't put it in the graveyard, it puts it on the bottom of their library. Yeah, I think that's all I'll do here. Go ahead and run it back. Yeah, this hand's good. Hand's solid. It's a little bit weak to Collective Brutality, which we saw in game 1. So I don't think I can mulligan it, but it is really bad if we get our 1-drop Collective Brutality and our Harmonized yoinked from us. Yeah. I'm doing the Findhorn Elves because I want to have double white if they Collective Brutality it. So, hanging on to the Avacyn's Pilgrim for now. This looks like a Collective Brutality. They're probably selecting the modes. Yup. Yep, that's bad. I mean, it's not a disaster, though. Like, we do still have stuff to do, but Harmonize would have been very nice. So I could, like, accelerate out this Flicker Wisp, but what am I, like... What does that accomplish? I don't know. Maybe I'm going to hold on to the Flicker Wisp and see if I can get some value out of it. I don't think just hitting them with a 3/1 flyer is really going to be a great plan here. Oh, I could have played the Pilgrim if I had played a Forest and... Oh, I can still play the Pilgrim. Okay. Alright, well, I could have had not a counter on that. I guess that gives me some value with the Flicker Wisp, right? I can flicker this to remove the counter. Let's see, all you gotta do is just make some misplays, and then you can get value from recovering from your misplays. I guess now we Flicker Wisp to kill a spirit. And this makes them hold the other spirit back too. Not quite what I was hoping to do with this Flicker Wisp, but yeah. Recurring Nightmare. Okay. Well, they don't have anything in their graveyard right now, so I'm not too scared of that at the moment. Ooh, Birthing Pod. Hello. Alright, so let's go 1, 2, 3. No, let's tap differently. 4 for the pod. Play out the Mox Pearl so we don't have to take life or anything. 1, 2. So I think I'm going to sack the Wall of Roots to get a Rexage to get rid of this Recurring Nightmare. Yeah, that seems good. Just considering my other options real quick. I could also grab Recruiter of the Guard. And Recruiter could, like, find me a Biogenic Ooze. I'm just gonna go with the Rexage. I like denying my opponents the ability to enact their game plan here. I think as the game progresses, I feel pretty good about my odds with the Birthing Pod. I think the way I lose this game is, like, they find a way to put a big thing in their graveyard and reanimate it before I'm able to accrue a bunch of value with the Birthing Pod. So next turn, I'm probably potting this Rexage into a Huntmaster. Yeah, Huntmaster. Okay, and I'll just say go. Oh, that's kind of cool. No spells were cast because I potted it. So I'll do them, and I'll ping the spirit, sure. And now my opponent can't really, if they cast 2 spells, then I get the Huntmaster back, so they have to be cognizant of that. I think this turn I'll take a hit from the Regisaur. Yeah, maybe I chump block with a Pilgrim. Yeah, that seems fine. I'll chump block with the Pilgrim. Yeah. The opponent could have Restoration Angel. That's good. What do I want to do here? So I could pod my Ravager of the Fells into a Huntmaster. Or sorry, into a Biogenic Ooze. I could also pod Flicker Wisp into Resto Angel, flicker my Huntmaster, it comes back, I get another wolf, and then because I didn't cast any spells, it immediately transforms and they take more damage. That seems pretty good. Let's do that. Just as long as we don't get this Flicker Wisp eaten by a Resto Angel. Please no Resto Angel. That would actually be a disaster because they would also flicker their Regisaur, and that could block too. Alright, so let's go there. We'll get rid of the Flicker Wisp. Just checking what else I have. I'm getting the Resto Angel now. I'm just kind of planning ahead. So what are my hits at 5? I have a Thragtusk and a Biogenic Ooze. I hit and a Revelark, right? So I'll flicker the Huntmaster. Yep. And then I go to end step, and no spells were cast this turn. So I go bop bop. Gosh, Huntmaster is really sweet in Birthing Pod decks. I don't know. This card gets a lot of flack in the cube. Caleb Gannon was just talking about this in one of his videos recently. He was saying that Huntmaster gets a lot of hate, but it's really just because it doesn't have a great home. It's not that it's like a bad card. It's a really strong card. It's just that most decks don't want a Huntmaster because most of the green decks are ramping. But it is quite good in the Birthing Pod decks. Okay, so they're getting back a Rex Sage. And that lets them blow up our pod. Yeah. It does put them to 4, though, so they're pretty close to just dying. They can't really attack with the Rotting Regisaur, or they're just dead, so... Well, let's attack them with the Resto Angel here. Put them to 1. Play a Yavimaya Elder. Go ahead and crack that. See what we find. Force Plains, sure. Draw card. Wasteland. Oh, I like that. Blow up their courtyard. And I'll play out this elf. It's another lethal threat at this point. Cool. Okay. Well, 1 match down, 2 to go. Okay, here we are for match 2. Gonna have to mulligan this hand. Just way too slow for being on the draw in Vintage Cube here. This hand's also pretty bad. I think I might keep this one, though. I think I like this better than going to 5. We have all our colors. We have a piece of acceleration. We have a piece of disruption in the wasteland. I'll bottom the flames, I guess. Yeah. Okay. I think I'll go ahead and wasteland my opponent just right away here. I know that we have more lands. They might not. And we're not doing anything anytime soon with our mana. Like, none of the things we play are that we're trying to play. Let me rephrase that. We don't really have a game plan that we're trying to enact right now, so the best thing that I can do with that wasteland is just try to stop my opponent from being able to enact their game plan. Okay. So it looks like our opponent did have lands. Dreadhorde Arcanist. Okay. That one's pretty spooky. If they have like an Ancestral Recall or something, that could be really scary. I might just hold up Unexpectedly Absent in case they play something like that. Okay. No recall. That's good. Coraline Gorge. Play a Wall of Roots. If our opponent counters this, I am super fine with that. In fact, it actually gives us something to get back with the Elspeth Conqueror's Death. So, opponent is on some kind of Grixis deck. They're playing an Arcanist, which probably means they've got a lot of, like, Fatal Pushes, Lightning Bolts, Ponder, Preordain type cards. A lot of 1 mana instants and sorceries. So they're probably playing a lot of interaction. Wishclaw Talisman. I was not expecting that one. Okay. Talisman is surprising. Usually Talisman, like, you only play Talisman in Storm. Ooh, Harmonize. That's a nice one. Yeah, I'll go ahead and cast that here. There's a decent chance this gets countered, because they had paused for a long time when we cast Wall of Roots, so they might just have like a mana leak or miscalculation. Expansion. Yeah, that's good. So, not countered, but copied. They get their own copy of that. Okay. Ooh. Well, those were some good draws. Carnage Tyrant is probably going to be an opponent playing Grixis. They're very hard to deal with for our, like, Grixis control-looking opponent over here. And it kills pretty quickly, so I'll probably just play that next turn. I would love if my opponent just passed with a bunch of mana up. So I could Carnage Tyrant and they couldn't counter it. Can't be countered. Carnage Tyrant is a it clocks pretty fast. Like, there are some decks that just cannot beat a Carnage Tyrant. It's possible that they might have like a Wrath that they can go get with this Wishclaw Talisman. Okay, so our opponent probably is Storm then if they're playing Mystical Tutor. The Dreadhorde Arcanist was the one that just kind of threw me, but maybe they are just playing a variant of Storm that is playing a lot of 1-drops. Okay, Time Walk's good, yeah. Oh, my opponent might just go off this turn. I guess another option, I could have played Recruiter of the Guard and then gone for like a Reclamation Sage on the Wishclaw Talisman. I kind of am like secretly hoping we get access to the Wishclaw Talisman so that we can use it to go get a birthing pod and then pod away our Wall of Roots to destroy the talisman. Okay, so Mystical Tutoring here is pretty important for them because they're throwing away their Dreadhorde Arcanist to do it. Maybe? What happened? Looked like they were targeting that, and then it went away. I'm a little confused. Huh. Did they misclick? Check the game log here. Says they... Oh, you probably can't see this. This is going to be covered up by me in the recording. But it says they put the triggered ability on the stack targeting Mystical Tutor. And then... Huh. Interesting. They must have said no to, do you want to cast this? So our opponent's got 4 cards in hand and 6 lands. Okay, so they can Snapcaster a Time Walk here. They're taking a lot of turns. Yep. The nice part about this is that because, like, their turns are like broken up in a way that the storm, like, even though it's been their turn this whole time, it's like it's gonna be 3 separate turns in the end, which means that at the end, if they've cast, 10 spells or whatever, but only 3 of them were on the latest turn, they would only have a storm count 3. Ooh, so we did get the Wishclaw Talisman, which could mean we're losing this coming turn, but if we don't, or this coming extra turn from them, but if we don't, then sad. Well, on the plus side, that means that they thought it was going to be relevant, probably, that we have this Wishclaw Talisman. Either that, or they just had an extra upgrade that they didn't need and wanted to have his backup here. So we still haven't figured out exactly what version of Storm our opponent's on here. We don't know what the win condition is. Probably Tendrils, could also be Brain Freeze. Mana Flare, yeah, that's good. So they probably have a draw 7 now. Time Spiral would be really good. Don't want to see a Time Spiral. Okay. This is like a Mind Twist. Yogg-Will. Okay. So they can Mystical Tutor a thing. They can Wishclaw to tutor up. Maybe they Wishclaw to tutor up a draw 7. They don't have any rituals, unfortunately. Storm is really awkward. Like, Yawgmoth's Will, you really want a lot of rituals to make Yawgmoth's Will work. They can Mystical Tutor for a thing, but unless they have a way of drawing cards, it's just not going to be relevant. And I can just, like, spend a bunch of mana next turn and then unexpectedly absent the Mana Flare back on top of their deck. Like, if they don't win this turn, we're probably going to win this game. Or you could Recruiter for the Rec Sage. Okay, so they put a Frantic Search on top. Wheel of Fortune. Okay, that's good. Alright, they're going now. They're going. So now they can cast Frantic Search, which is a... draws them 2 and gets them... They get to untap 3 lands, so they'll be back up to 6 mana. They're at Storm count 5. Okay, they might have us. Plus, now that they wheeled our hand away, we can't get rid of the Mana Flare, so even if they fizzle this turn, we don't have a ton of ways of interacting. What enter the exile zone? Island, it looks like. So, because of the way Yawgmoth's Will is templated, if a card will be put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, exile that card. So they can't cast that Frantic Search again, because now that one is in exile, which is nice. So, like, Yawgwill kind of, like, locks in with, like, all the cards that are coming from your graveyard. You can't put anything else into your graveyard after you've Yawgmoth Willed. Brain Freeze. That'll do it. That wins them the game. What's it? Expansion. Okay. Yeah, you already have it. Okay. So playing against Storm. What does that mean, playing against Storm? Means we want to take out... Oust is probably just not going to be great. Elspeth Conquers Death is a little clunky. I guess it can exile a Mana Flare if they untap with it, but, like, if they're untapping with us having a Mana Flare, then something has gone horribly wrong for them anyways. Yikes, our deck is just not positioned super well against Storm. Like, we don't have a great sideboard for this. I guess we could bring in, like, Vraska? We could just go a little bit more aggressive and play this Kythian. You could splash the Hydroid Krasis. Yeah, maybe we do that. Maybe we go, like, put in, like, Dryad Hydroid Krasis. Expectedly absent, Tithe Taker, Flicker's Rec Sage, Blades Placer, Recruiter of the Guard. The Wall of Blossom's a little awkward. I think we still want it because we have Birthing Pod and Resto Angel, but it is, like, the face value of an 0-4 is quite low here. Trying to figure out if I want to cut something for a search for tomorrow. I think I probably want to cut, like, a plains for a island. And then search for tomorrow helps fix my mana. Maybe like... Oh, well, I guess I'll just submit it. I'm out of time. Okay, I'll be on the play. Yeah, this hand's good. Turn 1, I can play Wall of Roots plus Fin Torn Elves. So that's a lot of mana. Okay. So turn 2, we can just start beating them down with the Revel Arc. Play a 4/3 flyer on turn 2. See if that can go the distance. Firebluff Canal, okay. Love to draw a Wasteland. Guess I'll play Island. Just because it's like one of the only green sources or blue sources in my deck. And I was trying to figure out which one would I rather have get wheeled away, and I think I would rather have the island in play and have the plateau be wheeled away if they were to cast like a draw 7. I had to discard my hand. Okay, so we can start attacking for 5 a turn between our Revel Arc and our Fin Torn Elves. So got them on a 4-turn clock. We'll see if that's good enough. Looked like our opponent had a pretty good version of Storm. I mean, they had Time Walk, Snapcaster Mage, Yawgmoth's Will, Frantic Search, Mystical Tutor. Like they got all the pieces. I didn't see too many ritual effects. Okay, Arcanist, sure. So that slows down our clock a little bit because now we can't attack with the elf. Ooh, Huntmaster. That's nice. Attack with the Revel Arc. Yep. Why does Dreadhorde Arcanist have Trample? It's such a weird... really bizarre. I guess it's maybe just like signaling to you, like whispering to the player, like, hey, make my power bigger and I do more stuff. Like, maybe that was the design philosophy there. Ooh, yeah, would really love to draw a way of interacting here. Wasteland would be good. Wouldn't hate a Birthing Pod. Birthing Pod would be decent. Our opponent kind of has to play something or our Huntmaster is going to flip. So that's nice that they can't just really pass the turn. Or we put them on an even faster clock with a 4/4 and a 4/3 attacking them. They're at 16. If the Huntmaster flips, they go to 14, and then they start taking 8 a turn from the two of them. Mystical. Okay. So Huntmaster will not be flipping just yet. They probably Time Walk. Yep. Makes sense. Okay. Mana Tithe. Oh, that is a way of interacting. They are a little light on mana, so I don't hate Mana Tithe. ice. How much do I care about ice? Draws them a card. Yeah, that's fine. That's not super important to my game plan. I'll let that resolve. That pause is awkward because I definitely, like, I'm telegraphing that I have a mana tithe, but I did want to think that one through. I would rather have the mana tithe available for, like, stopping, like, a Wheel of Fortune or something like that. So, opponent is at 12. We have 4 power in the air. Seagate Stormcaller. Yeesh. I guess I mana tithe that? Because they're going to cast a Time Walk, and they get to copy of the Time Walk, so the Time Walk's going to... one copy of Time Walk is going to resolve no matter what, and this way they don't have a Seagate Stormcaller in play and a copy of Time Walk resolving. They just get the one. Stormcaller is really good. Bonus deck looks awesome. They got, like, a lot of ways to find their Time Walk and recast it, and okay, so they can get their Mystical Tutor again with the Dreadhorde Arcanist. Yep. So they'll probably get, like, a Wheel of Fortune here. Would be my guess. Okay. Dark Ritual. Okay. I don't love that. That probably means they have, like, a Yawgmoth's Will. Wow, that's awesome. Dark Ritual, they even have the Dreadhorde Arcanist to, like... I guess that doesn't work great with Dark Ritual, because they get the mana during the combat, so they can't spend it on sorceries. So that bit's not great for them, but they probably have a Yawg Will here, at which point we're in a lot of trouble, because if they go, like, Dark Ritual, Yawgmoth's Will, Seagate Stormcaller, Time Walk, then they're taking 2 additional turns. I think our best out here is our opponent just timing out. That's so this is gonna make for a great video. Sit back and strap in for 8 minutes here. I will attempt to provide somewhat entertaining commentary as our opponent takes many turns. So it looks like they didn't have the Yawg Will. They're just time walking off the Snapcaster Mage, so that's something at least. It means that they're only taking 1 additional turn. Which, I mean, 1 extra turn is not too bad. They've got to have something else though, right? Because they wouldn't have Dark Ritualed otherwise. They would have just Snapcastered and cast it. So maybe they have a Wishclaw Talisman that they're going to play? No? Okay. They have a 4 mana instant. A 3 mana instant? It's also just possible my opponent misplays. That happens, especially with Storm. Storm is such a difficult deck to pilot. There's like so many complicated decisions to make, and I mean, like, you can tell, like, based on, like, just, like, look at our clocks here, right? Like, they clearly have to think a lot more about their plays than I do, just because of the complexity of their deck, right? They're on 6.5 minutes. I'm on 1950 here. Yep. You hit me with the Wheel of Fortune. What'd you get? The jackpot? Is that a thing? Could you get a jackpot on the show Wheel of Fortune? I don't remember it very well. There were... Oh! Hey! Looks like our opponent fizzled there? Or maybe they... That was bizarre. Okay. I'll take it. Yeah, just run it back. Ooh. Oh. I got excited when I saw the birthing pod, but we can't keep this hand. Yeah, this one's a little better. Probably put back a forest, I think. Yeah, I'll put back a forest. Our deck is still just, like, doesn't have a ton of ways of interacting with our opponents. Like, we also don't have a ton of ways of, like, applying pressure. I mean, our creatures apply a decent amount of pressure, but it's not a ton. It's not like we're, like, you know, we're trying to beat down with, like, Flickerwisp and Thragtusks or something, but it's not the same kind of pressure that you'd get out of, like, a mono-white or mono-red deck where your opponent is, like, really has to do something very quickly or they're going to die. Okay. Electromancer's scary. So, kind of want to deal with that. Let's see if I have a way of dealing with that through this Recruiter of the Guard. Yep. So... Options. None of these are ideal. The only card here that could potentially deal with it is Huntmaster. And Huntmaster we can't actually cast right now, so don't love that. Don't love that. Might just be like a Blade Splicer to just put some pressure on our opponent. Alternatively, we could grab like an Elvish Mystic and then Flickerwisp again, or Flickerwisp the Recruiter and grab something else next turn. Yeah, I kind of like that, actually. That seems pretty good. Yeah. There is a decent chance that our opponent just goes off with this. Since they've got the Goblin Electromancer in play, they can, yep. So they're already time walking. So they might like Snapcaster back the time walk now. There's a chance we just don't have another turn this game. There's also a good chance our opponent times out here. They're on 5 minutes, and they're playing a very complicated deck. Oh, or they just pass. Okay. Sure. Well, I will Elvish Mystic and Flickerwisp our Recruiter of the Guard. And here... What do I find? Biogenic ooze, maybe? That's some pressure. Could grab a Krasis. Krasis could potentially find an answer to their Electromancer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not a very big Krasis. Yeah, I'll take a Biogenic ooze. Our opponent's just got all the time in the world here with... Like, we didn't even really have a slow start, right? We had Mox in our opening hand. Powered out, I guess Recruiter is just kind of a slow card by its nature. Well, our opponent's going. So they cast Cabal Ritual. Tendrils. Huh. Not expecting that. Okay. Maybe they just, like, play, like, Yogwill. No, they can't do that. Okay, that makes sense. They were just... Sure. So... Still don't have an answer to this Electromancer. I could Restoration Angel our Recruiter to go get a Huntmaster. That's like the slowest answer ever. Realistically, we're probably either going to lose this match because our opponent is storming off, or they're going to time out, is probably how this is going to play out. Oh, unfortunately, our Reclamation Sage is in the bin, so can't get that one. Kind of want to be able to hold up a Mana Tithe, because it feels like the most important thing I'm going to be doing is probably... Use ability only during your turn. Okay. Darn, it's not only time you could cast a sorcery. Okay, so this is actually kind of cute. What I'm gonna do here, because I want to try to... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to try to interact with my opponent as much as possible. So what I'm gonna do is... I'm going to attack them in the air with this Flicker Wisp. On my opponent's upkeep... I'm gonna flash it into a Restoration Angel. Blinking our Flicker Wisp. And Flicker Wisping away their Goblin Electromancer. So that they don't have access to the Electromancer on a turn when they have a whole bunch of mana. And a Wishclaw Talisman. And 6 cards in their hand. Because that's the best that I can do here, I think. Looks like our opponent is using the Talisman. Ooh, they're getting close to timing out. Gosh, it always feels so bad to have matches end with one player timing out. Like, whether it's me or my opponent, I just... like, it's just not satisfying, you know? We're on 2 minutes. Played a land. Snapcaster Mage. Okay. Probably Snapcastering the Time Walk. Yeah, that's good. Can't do anything about that. Okay. Well, they might be able to kill me in time. Because they're going to get back their Electromancer now. So they'll be able to go off. They just need to do it very quickly. Yogwell, sure. Cabal Ritual, okay. Chalice X0 just to get the storm count up, it must be. So they're almost there on being able to kill me. They're tendrils. Okay. So that doesn't quite do it. If they have expansion explosion, I don't think that copies the storm part. Because they don't cast it. It's a really weird... Like, storm is like a triggered ability on a thing, so they get... Okay, so they're going to have 5 total copies of tendrils, which is just 1 short of enough. Ooh. Opponent came up just short here. Do they have, like, bolt? No bolt. Okay. Darn. I mean, darn for them. I guess it's good for me. Well, I guess we'll, Oh, wow, right away, okay. Here we are for round 3. Round 3 with our Selesnya Birthing Pod deck. I guess this hand's a keep. It's not great. I don't love having none of my accelerants, but having Mana Tithe into Blade Splicer seems pretty good. Ooh, opponent's not playing anything. That's nice. I'm gonna start with the Thicket so that I can Mana Tithe. And I don't even know if I would want to Wasteland my opponent. Or be able to necessarily. Yeah. Mystical Tutor. Okay. I'm gonna get an Ancestral Recall. Time Walk. Recall. Yep. Oh, Recall's good. Pack Rat. Okay, well, glad we had the Mana Tithe up. We could never beat a Pack Rat. Pack Rat is so good against our deck. Oh no! Oh, we're gonna lose to Pack Rat. We're gonna get Pack Ratted. Okay, that's a problem for us. So Elspeth Conquers Death doesn't even hit it. We gotta draw like Oust this turn. That's not an Oust this turn. Guess I'm gonna play Wall of Roots and pass. Okay. Now it's basically over. This could be very hard to fight through. If they go all in on it, that is. It's possible that they might just not. It does not seem like that's happening. It does appear that they are going all in on it. Okay. So we'll Recruiter and go get a um hmm get a flicker wisp to kill a pack rat token. That seems pretty good. It could, yeah, I think I like that. Play my Mesa first. Let's check what we got left in our deck here. So I'm definitely grabbing the plateau. Just trying to figure out. There's also like some thought to getting Huntmaster of the Fells, because if they're pack ratting, then they're not casting spells. So Huntmaster could like flip and kill the things. But they're gonna get out of range a little too quickly for that, I think. So yeah, I'll just take the Flicker Wisp. I guess I could have grabbed a Biogenic Ooze and we could have just been like head to head, like just like a pack rat war, basically. I guess that's a little bit worse against removal. Okay. So go for the Flicker Wisp here. Kill the token. Wall of Roots. And play a Blade Splicer. We might be able to race our opponent. I mean, we've got a lot of bodies on the board. I can't attack the Recruiter because they'll make a pack rat token and block it. I mean, Thragtusk is going to be pretty good. Thragtusk is a very big creature, and they can't really attack into our first striking Golem very easily. Be attacking them in the air with the Flicker Wisp. Yeah, I mean, we might. Oof. Yeah, that's good. Getting rid of our Thragtusk hurts. What would we love to... What do we want to draw? What would be our best draw? Birthing Pod would generally just always be our best draw. I think I just attack with this one. I guess I could attack the Golem as well. Yeah, they don't have great attacks on the backswing because I could do like a big triple block or something like that. Which would be a little bit risky, but I think with where I'm at, I'm wanting to pressure my opponent's life total. So like here, I think I'm going to go block, and then I think I'm going to do a triple block on the token. The original one can be reanimated. Yeah, I'll say okay. So if this is just making a another pack rat. That's not too bad for us. That was what we were expecting. If this is something else... Okay, a dig through time. Yeah. If they find a removal spell, I guess it's not too bad because they can't cast a removal spell and do a pack rat. So they'll probably just have to discard here. I mean, we're kind of racing them. Okay. Well, that's good. Tinker, that's less good. That's not... Yeah, that's... I take back... When I said that's good, that it was in fact not good. That was an incorrect... an incorrect statement, it turns out. I guess I keep attacking with the Flicker Wisp. Hope I draw Unexpectedly Absent or Banishing Light. Well, wait, did I take Banishing Light out? I might have. Or Oust, I think I still have in here. Okay. Block with the Wall of Roots, I guess. 2, 3... Indestructible, right? Yeah. Okay, I'll block with the Wall of Roots. So, I have one more turn to find something. Whew. Fallen Shinobi. Alright, they got me. Okay, Pack Rat, Blightsteel Colossus, Fallen Shinobi, Dig Through Time, Tinker. Okay, so how do I feel about this? Let's bring in some more removal, I think. That would be good. What's coming out? Yavimaya Elder's a little too slow, I think. So... what else could I take out here? Could take out Harmonize. That's an option. Opponent's deck seemed like pretty fast, so maybe Harmonize is like a little too slow. Could take out Tithe Taker. It didn't seem to be doing a ton of stuff on our turn. Could also just be Huntmaster of the Fells. Guess I'll take out the Tithe Taker. They probably have some counter spells, though. I saw a Force of Will, I think. Be Thragtusk? Or like Revelark, maybe? Yeah, let's just run it like this. Can't keep this hand, unfortunately. This one's a little better. What are we putting back? Probably the Carnage Tyrant, because we can't cast it for a long time. Could also consider putting back a land. I don't think I want to put back anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4 lands effectively. Yeah, I'll put back the Carnage Tyrant. We got a bunch of, like, 4-drops and stuff in our decks, so I'm, like, I don't want to put back a land and then be stuck with cards like Elspeth Conquers Death or Restoration Angel in our hand. Plus, their deck looked a lot more proactive than reactive. Like, Carnage Tyrant is a little bit better against decks that are more on the reactive side, where they're trying to answer your threats rather than present their own threats. And our opponent seemed to be doing much more of the, like, presenting their own threats between Pack Rat and Tinker and Fallen Shinobi. Okay. Well, if we get to Rexage the Mox, that's pretty good. Hopefully this Rexage resolves. Looks like maybe they're deciding if they want to Force of Will it. Or they're just sad and need a moment to do some emotional processing around the fact that they're about to lose their Mox. That also happens. I understand. No, they're trying to cast something. Recall? Probably a recall. Yep, recall. Okay. Yeah. I mean, casting Mox Sapphire into Ancestral Recall is generally pretty strong. Even if your Mox gets blown up. Yep. Tinker, no. Oh, gosh. Oh, they're gonna have a turn 2 Blightsteel Colossus through a Rexage? Jeez. Okay. Let's find one of our... Hey, that's a great answer, actually. That is ideal. Cool. So, in that case, I guess I just Wall of Blossoms. Draw a card. Hope our opponent doesn't have a Force of Will. That would be really brutal. Just like Ancestral Recall into Tinker with Force of Will backup. 2 Moxes. So I'm gonna condemn the Blightsteel before blocks to... This way I'll know if they have a counterspell. They do not. Woohoo, that's very good for us. Ooh, we have an oust too, nice. Alright, guess let's start by... I think I just want to Flicker Wisp the Wall of Blossoms. There's some thought to saving the Flicker Wisp for the Reclamation Sage because I know that they have a bunch of artifacts, but I'm kind of out of gas here, so I think I'd rather just get a threat on board and draw a card. My opponent spent a lot of resources to make that play. I mean, they got all the resources from Ancestral Recall, but they did spend a Mystical Tutor to find Tinker, and then a Mox Ruby from the Tinker to get that Blightsteel into play. So it took them 3 cards to do that. So my Condemn was basically like an Ancestral Recall there. Huntmaster of the Fells. Okay, I mean, if I hit my red, then that's very good. Especially because it lines up very nicely against Pack Rat. Being able to ping things if they go for Pack Rat is nice. If they play a Pack Rat here, I'll probably just oust it for now. They're at 26. They did gain a ton of life off of the Blightsteel. It's what, like an 11-11? Urza. Yeah, Urza's good. Okay. I could oust the Construct, but that doesn't seem great. I think I'd rather just hit them in the air and then hold back blockers. I think I just want to keep this oust for as like a release valve against big stuff they're doing. Would love to hit our birthing pod. Birthing pod would be great. We could do all sorts of shenanigans with it. We could like go get a Restoration Angel to flicker our Rex Sage or our Flicker Wisp. We could turn a Wall of Blossoms into one of our good 3-drops. Like, we could turn it into, like, Dryad and then be able to cast our Huntmaster. Except, wait, did we bring in Dryad? We probably don't have Dryad. Never mind. Could turn our Wall of Blossoms into a Blade Splicer, I guess. Ooh, there's our plateau. Okay. So attack with the Flicker Wisp. And then second main, we'll play the Huntmaster. Huntmaster is also really nice against Urza. If they're just going to be, like, if their plan is to spin Urza, then that flips our Huntmaster. So we got a decent bit of pressure on our opponent. They have to cast a spell or our Huntmaster flips and kills their construct. Torrential Gearhulk. Oh, that's good. Gearhulk a recall? Yep. Opponent has 7 cards in hand to our 1. I think they're probably still favored here, but if I were to draw a... Ooh, Winds of Abandon, pretty good. Yeah, maybe I just cast that. Just overload a Winds of Abandon and start getting in with the team. I kind of like that, actually. And I still have Oust as a release valve if I need to. Not die to a thing. So they get a bunch of lands, which, I mean, they have 7 cards in hand and we just gave them 3 lands, so it's, they'll probably be able to deploy all the cards they just drew. But we got a lot of creatures on board to their none. Or none. Blah. Him. Yeah, him's good. Eight mana for an Ugin. Yikes. Well, that's probably going to be game. Oh, it's unfortunate. I'm not quite sure if there's anything we could draw to dig us out of this. Okay, now there's definitely not, so I'll just go ahead and concede. Okay. Well, we ended up 2-1 with our Selesnya pod deck. Did the window close? Is it possible to see my deck? View your previous deck. There it is. It was a fun deck to draft, fun deck to play. The more I play with Pod, the more I'm thinking that Selesnya is kind of its natural home. I used to be on like the Sultai birthing pod train, but I think like blue is just really contested, and it's really hard to pick up the blue fixing because birthing pod ends up being a lot of colors often, and like the green white fixing and like green white red, green white black fixing all tends to go pretty late. Like either of those, either Naya or Abzan fixing tends to not get picked up nearly as aggressively as blue fixing. So if you build your deck like base like green white or green red, or something like that, or green black, and then splash the white or red or whatever, playing some combination of Naya or Abzan colors, I think that's tends to be more consistent, partially because of the mana, and then also just like there's just a lot of really good things to do in white with Birthing Pod. Like you can Flicker Wisp, you get Recruiter of the Guard, Blade Splicer, you get Skyclave Apparition, you get Resto Angel. Revelark's a card that's like great in this deck, but no one else in the cube wants it like ever. So it just comes super, super late. So yeah, I'm gonna probably play around with this this deck. I'm sure I'll draft the Birthing Pod at least a couple more times before the end of the cube season. I love me a Birthing Pod deck. Thanks y'all for joining me. If you enjoy this content and want to help support me in making it, you can like, comment, or subscribe. All that helps my YouTube analytics, helps me get more views. You can also support me on Patreon over at patreon.com/RyanHibbs. Thanks again, everyone, for joining me, and I will catch you next time.